Okay, sorry. So they're about to cut me open, and I started having a really severe panic attack. I heard Wayne come in. He sat behind me. He wasn't even next to me. And the anesthesiologist is like, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. Dr. Long comes around the curtain and he says, you know, sweetie, it's okay. This is the safest thing for the baby. We need to get him out. And y'all, I don't even remember, because if you've ever had a panic attack, you don't, 9 times out of 10, you don't know what you're doing. And to asking people now, they said I just sounded outside of myself, and I know I did. I know I sounded ridiculous. At one point I remember telling the anesthesiologist, I'm dying and you don't care. And so I clearly remember that Dr. Long has talked to me, and the anesthesiologist said, you need to cut her and get it over with, or I'm going to put her to sleep. So Dr. Long goes around and he starts, and I feel, and I know everybody's experience as far as C-sections are different, but I felt, if I can explain the way that it felt, it wasn't painful, but it just felt like when you cut like chicken open or something out, it just spreads. That's the way it felt. I mean, it just was kind of like, and I could feel all that. And then from that point on, it was just like tugging and pulling, and I'm freaking out the whole time, and my husband's laughing because his reaction to being nervous or scared is to laugh. And so he's back there, and I'm like, you need to shut up. This is not funny. I'm dying. I can't breathe. So, you know, they say all of a sudden, there's a lot of pressure. There's going to be a lot of pressure, Miss Hanks. You know, that means the baby's coming. You know, a lot of tugging, a lot of pulling, and it feels like somebody's sitting on you, like jumping around. Like somebody's sitting on your stomach, jumping around. And all of a sudden, it felt like that person got up. And I heard him. I mean, I heard him cry. And all of that I just went through, and all of the pain and the scared and the nervous, it didn't go away, but it felt almost worth it. Like, almost like it was okay. And they walked past me with him, and they put him in the, they go to bring him to the bed, and I just cried. I was crying so hard because, you know, I was so thankful that he was okay, but I was still freaking out, y'all. I was not okay. And so I remember him saying, you know, I'm going to put you to sleep. And he did. I really feel like health-wise, my blood pressure and everything was not okay. And they put me to sleep. And so from pictures and from memories of my husband, what they did is they took him over to the table and cleaned him off and weighed him. And he was born at 6:42 on March 8th, 2011. He weighed 6 pounds, I wish. He weighed 8 pounds, 9.4 ounces. He was 20 1/4 inches long, and he was perfect. He was so sweet and cute and blonde hair. And after that, I remember waking up in the recovery room, and it was like 8 something, and he was born at 6:42, so I had been in recovery. I don't know how long I'd been in recovery, but I know it had been a couple hours since the baby had been born. And my first question was, well, Wayne was there. He was in there with me. Was, how's the baby? Is he okay? And he was fine, and he was in the nursery. And I have just a bad reaction to anesthesia. I just don't tend to wake up as quickly as they'd like me to. So that was what was wrong. I wasn't waking up. And so that's when I was in recovery a little bit longer. But I just remember laying there because, you know, I sent Wayne to go check on the baby, and my mom was fixing to leave because she had eaten, and it was late. I just remember laying there and crying and sobbing, thinking, I could not believe this just happened. I can't believe I just had a baby. I can't believe I had a C-section. I can't believe all of these things happened at one time. And remember feeling overwhelmed, and feeling like, you know, this was not what I planned, but ultimately I was happy because the baby was out safe. But I feel like I wanted a do-over. You know, I wanted to do this over again. I felt like, you know, you always look back and say, I wish I could have done things differently, but what turns out to be why he wouldn't have came out is, number one, he was in the wrong position. I mean, he couldn't turn him. He was in the wrong position. And number two, his head was too big. It didn't fit. He said I had a relatively small cervix and pelvis. And even with a fully dilated cervix, pelvis, whatever you want to say, he didn't fit. And I want y'all's opinion on this. Looking back on it now, he was probably about 2 weeks old, Edison was, and you know how I said how they put the little monitor on his head? I was just kind of checking those bubos because they were still there. And I noticed that he didn't have a soft spot at all. No soft spot on the top of his head. What I could find of one at 2 weeks was probably the size of a pencil head, like a pencil eraser. And I started thinking, y'all, was that it? Like, was the reason why he would not go into my pelvis was because he didn't have a soft spot? Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't that, the reason why they have one is so that their skull can contract for them to be able to fit into the birth canal? No one's ever told me this, and I've never asked a medical professional if this could have been the reason, but I truly in my heart think that that was what it was, that's why his heart rate was going down, because the cord wasn't around his neck or anything. It kept trying with each contraction for his head to go in, and it couldn't. I mean, I really think that's what it was. And you know, if somebody tells me I'm wrong and stupid and that's not possible, that's fine, but that's just what I think. But besides that, my labor and delivery with Edison was not what I ever expected. It was not what I ever wanted or wished for, and I don't wish it for anybody else, because it was very long, and it was very painful and very disappointing in some parts of it, but the end result was a beautiful boy, and a sweet, handsome boy that we wanted for so long. And he came, and he's fine, and he's healthy. But it's okay. It's okay to have disappointments in labor, and it's okay to be disappointed with the way your labor turned out. But it does teach you a lot, and it does make you very thankful for your child. And you know, when we do have another baby, it makes me change the way I want things to go. And I'm gonna say the way I want things to go, because this is not how I wanted things to go this time with him. And you can want all you want, but ultimately God's in control of the situation, and you know, the medical professionals are gonna do what they feel is the safest for the baby. And I know they always have the baby's health and your health in their best interest, and I know that. But I do feel like that whole situation and the whole time, that all of those things, all of the factors that led to me having a C-section were already there at the time of the induction. And it would have been hard for me to voluntarily have a C-section, but if I would have been told that all of those things would eventually lead to a C-section, reasoning wise, I would have probably chose it, opposed to going through all that, his heart rate dropping so many times. And you know, I would have probably chose that for health reasons in the very beginning. So you know, that kind of disappointed me. But you live and you learn, and you know, ultimately you have a sweet, precious baby in your arms, and it's amazing. Even second time around, it was amazing, and it still is amazing. I still hold him every day and thank God for him, and he's a walking reminder of, you know, and what an amazing gift a child is. And we are so blessed to have him, and it was hard to have him here, but we love him and he's wonderful. So that is my insane, horrible labor and delivery story of Edison Jack. If you have any questions, let me know. Leave them below. And I'm sorry this had to be 2 parts, but it was too much for a 1-parter. But like I said, if y'all have any questions, leave them below, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.